Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Now, I want to talk about, as I've recently just published here, was a actual lecture on It Works. Magic works. And the rich and famous use magic. It works. Well, that's right. And let's get into that and talk about that a little more. This new book came out, which was supposed to attack people that were practicing that evil magic from Aleister Crowley. The name of the actual book is Children of the Beast by William Ramsey. And what it is really is just a listing of the rich and famous who used magic. Because, people don't just read Aleister Crowley, they get involved in magic. But the fact is, a lot of people claim to be Crowleyites, or people who follow Crowley and his system, which really is not a evil system per se. Aleister Crowley is not, I'm not a fan of his. I don't feel he had immorality. He sacrificed cats for whatever little purpose he wanted to. Yeah, I don't consider him a positive person, but his whole new belief system, rejecting the old garbage that nobody wants called mainstream religions, was with his conception of a thing called Thelema, and his practices within the OTO and other groups. All the stuff I'm not personally not a fan of. I'm not sure that it certainly isn't horrible, terrible stuff. I mean, certainly your church says kill people. I mean, there's not a single religion that doesn't say go out and kill people that I'm familiar with. I'm not sure if the Buddhists do, but certainly the Buddhists are not necessarily, they will defend themselves, of course, and rightfully so. But certainly the Christian Bible says go out and kill people, and it says in Islam that you are welcome to kill bad Muslims. So you can kill people, particularly non-Muslims, and you can even kill Muslims who are not good. I'm not sure what it says in Judaism, but Judaism is an old pagan religion, so they certainly killed enough of their own people. So we go into all these different belief systems, and of course, all religions are basically, unfortunately, when you get down to it, a lot of it's just hate and elitism. The Mormons, if you're not white, you've been cursed. Well, that means it's a hatred of these people. They hate people. And if you listen to born-again type Christians, it's really them talking about everybody they hate. But let's get back to It Works. Now, this book actually is a fantastic reference book. It's available on Kindle. Get it. The guy who wrote this is basically a Christian minister. And he's trying to foul all the rich and famous people who claim they read. A lot of them didn't say they followed him. They read his books. They found it interesting. Well, excuse me, they are interesting. So it is an interesting alternative. Well, we've had thousands of years of these other religions who have completely failed. Why wouldn't you read something like this and find some interest in it, including a practical system of using ritual magic, which Crowley stole from the Golden Dawn, which really has never been linked to satanic activity. So basically, Crowley's magical system is the Golden Dawn, which is non-satanic in nature, but Satanism is part of Christianity, so it has nothing to do with occultism, another thing people confused with. There are good and bad practices of everything, and I always mention this. You can use a gun for fun and protection, or you can go out and kill somebody with it. Well, is the gun wrong? Well, no, it goes to the individual. So it's kind of up to you how you use these things. But again, getting back to the premise here, this book is loaded with rich and successful people who all used magic. Now, as I said, they used much more than Crowley magic. They used all sorts of systems of magic. I know positively that David Bowie had several witches he lived with. One of them, a famous witch, committed suicide, which has been documented. So it's one reason we know that he had witches that he was living with or working with. I'm not sure what the full story is there. I did do a little lecture on him as well. And he supposedly, of course, later in age, once you get rich and famous, you forget what you really did. Like Obama, who didn't want medical care for anybody, even though his mother died because she didn't get proper medical care. So you always forget your roots. So the whole idea is that as we all put in to understand these things, is that here's a whole list of people: rocket scientists, movie producers. It just goes on and on. The top leading rock and roll and music people who have made billions all have noted Aleister Crowley. So, if you want to look at success, people look at it. What makes you successful, dude? What is the common thing? Well, this book has showed us the common thing to be really successful is to practice magic. So, of course, they tried to change this by putting the most debased stories of some people, like apparently the sexologist guy Kinsey, who apparently was a kinky little dude and actually abused himself badly, where he disfigured himself and maybe even caused his death through some bizarre sexual practices. Like, that's really strange to begin with. I mean, all the things that go on. So, I mean, that's those people's own personal realities, but whatever. If you want to, it doesn't matter. He was filthy rich. He was given hundreds of thousands of dollars in the 50s and 60s for research purposes, which means he had a booming institute if those figures are right. But again, this was gotten from this book. I don't know how the details of this book, how much, I'm sure the generality of it is correct. The specificness, where do they get their information from? The guy who wrote this is a lawyer. He's also has his own Christian ministry. So he's going to get information that he feels is credible from other people, but he knows nothing about the subject matter. But the bottom line is just one person after another. All the rich and famous have been using magic and have at least read Crowley. So, what's scientific? Well, the scientific fact is that you want to be rich and famous, well, you better read Crowley. And I don't know if it means apply any of it, but you should be familiar with his works and the mentality of that is. And I see him as just another magical practitioner, an occultist. And there are many of them. And there are now thousands of books. Since the 80s, there has been thousands of books written on all types of practical magic. I like to call practical magic sorcery because this denotes a non-religious form. Now, there are lots of magic, and I guess you could even say Crowley, to a certain extent, with his Thelema, was a kind of a religious system. Wicca is a religious system. While it incorporates practical magic, it's based in more of a religion. And that's, so I call it sorcery, and we have an entire course called Traditional Sorcery, and how to use it in the modern age that are on these audio cassettes that come with it that are empowered tools as well. You can actually produce magic through the use of these special tool CDs, and we also tell you how to use it in a modern way. But the traditional course is the finest course ever written on that area, which is sorcery, the hybrid, the combining of the non-religious hoodoo, voodoo, Wicca, witchcraft, etc. It's all combined into this, including Western magic as well, into this hybrid awesome system. Now, this system is fantastic. Nobody has ever failed using it. You apply yourself, you do what is stupidly simple, and you get results. And I use it all the time, as well as using my Techno Mage machines as well. People like machines because they're easier to use, there's less setup involved, and we are making them just as powerful, if not more powerful, than the older ways as they develop. But you need to know both. I can't stress this any further, and that's why we continue to and encourage all of my students to make sure you read the old grimoires, the magical texts. Well, these are the original radionic scientists, and you need to know these techniques and combine it into modern work. I think there are a lot of fun books to be in. The grimoires are kind of fun, seeing how ancient stuff was done using these frightening spirits, some, and other ones, the angels. I think it's a fantastic, fun way to look at things. But the reason why these things have survived is because they work, plain and simple. And of course, what do all the rich and famous people do? Well, they use magic. Just read the book and go through name after name of the top people in the industry of our planet who have achieved many things, including the guy who really brought the rocketry program, Parsons, who actually founded JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory that put us in space. These were the Americans who really did something. These programs went down the shithole because of the fact of bringing in Nazis who rigged everything against the system. So these are all the problems that we have to be very, very careful of in terms of of what's out there. But there is a common denominator for success. Now, modern magic, and we're still developing it up to a higher level, tends to be done with consciousness energy machines. But we use these old energies with them all the time. That's why we have a rate card that you rub an alchemical oil on that goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years in its actual formula. These are classic, tried and true, powerful forms. We use lots of magical sigils and everything else on these machines, etc. Well, these all go back thousands of years. They're tried and true. Why wouldn't you use them? People want to say it doesn't work because it doesn't pop up in front of them. Well, tell somebody to pop up in front of you. I want a gallon of gasoline. Pop it up in front of me. Oh, no, you have to go through a big process. You have to suck it out of the ground. You got to put it through. It's quite a process to make one little gallon of gasoline. It takes thousands of people's and millions of dollars to set up the initial facilities. Hundreds of millions, probably billions. So the idea is it doesn't pop up in front of you. And the same thing with magic. Magic doesn't pop up in front of you. It manifests through these channels that have to come to you. And it's been proven tens of millions of times. Well, let's even go past that. There's so many people. This is being done every day by billions of people who are manifesting it. I do it every day. I know lots of other people that do it every day, and they're using their machines and, of course, using good traditional sorcery, which we highly recommend. It's a very complete, wonderful course that I synergistically put together from several different texts, added to it, empowered it, because they're talismanic books. We make all the formulas in the book. You need any formula within that book, and it's available to you, and you can get it within a few days. And it's made very high standards, very high qualities. They last for a very long time, the oils. They're not inexpensive, but for what you're getting to change your life, I mean, how can you put a value on that? Not only that, a bottle of our oil with our special applicators can last you years, even if you use them daily. This is not a matter of quantity. You're rubbing energy onto a particular substance, and you use very inexpensive now tea lights and everything else, and we go into that, and it works, and it works really well. It's cheap. It's very easy to do. You can do a candle ritual within a couple of minutes, get it going, and keep the energy going, and you can do it safely through all the methods that we have shown people. So it's very, very exciting that this is out there. But it ain't me. As with most things here, I always hate to base anything on one particular person. I don't even like to base it on my facts. The fact that I'm successful, the fact that I've done things, I've come from nothing and achieved amazing things, that I've been able to survive and prosper in my life. Well, I mean, that's a really good indicator. But ultimately, it don't mean nothing to me. And you don't know my life and what I've done, or if I'm telling you the truth. The bottom line is, it doesn't work for you. So I always like to get things from third parties, etc. Now, I'm the only organization that's really ever researched, tracked what you would call general magic, sorcery, witchcraft type things. And again, these are non-religious, non-negative practices. You're using energy. I always looked at it all as the occult sciences. All that ancient magic is informational energetic fields that you have condensed to produce something in your life. So it's the same principle that works with radionics, because all radionics really is a type of magical practice using dials, which is a little more sophisticated than using it. But I don't cut them out. I don't want to cut out. A lot of my power comes with the fact that I constantly are using my alchemical oils with my machines. I put them right on my in plate. So if I'm trying to draw money to myself, well, I make sure I have a little tea light in a holder with the oil anointed onto the candle, and I've lit it and put it there, and I let it go. These tea lights cost like 6 cents each, and the oil's probably, for the application of it, probably is down to 2-3 cents every application, if that much. I mean, they'd last year. I've got bottles I use 2-3 times a week that I've had for 4 or 5 years. It's unbelievable how these things last. So it's a great investment. You build up your supply, etc., and it's all there. It's a complete, total system that anybody can do quick and easily. It's 100% safe. There's nothing negative connected to it. There's nothing. It's all it is the older way of grabbing informational energetic fields and pulling them towards you. Now we try and do it with a machine. But the bottom line, it's still the energies that you are grabbing, and it's all there. So traditional sorcery is we have that course there with everything else. People should grab these great books while you can get them. You can also insert a Polaroid photograph into the books. They're instant talismanic. We help you bind with the energy of this particular system through our amazing sigils. I mean, we have this very, very advanced, because when someone's connected to high levels of, quote, the divine or high levels of gnosis, well, they have all these special things. What does other people have? Well, we're going to go back to 1512 to that system done by Mucky Lou at the Tavern of Goofball, and he was in a coven, him and two other hillbillies, after they drunk beer at the tavern. I mean, that's what you get. Oh, yeah, but see, that goes back then. It goes back to the ancient times when they were so powerful. Well, it just isn't true. It is an old system. We're trying to put everything together, but we know it has to be done. There's no secrets out there of anything over there. Maybe some super powerful things, but it's unlikely that you can work those things out. It probably can only be worked out by the person who knows it. But all the techniques that you need to know, all the formulas, everything you need to know to become rich and famous, and most importantly, successful, happy, and maintain a high state of wellness, is all in this course. So this is your foundation that you need to get, and it's super easy to do. You don't need to buy some machines and figure out how to work them and spend all that money. You do need to invest in the course, learn it, read through it, and you can get started very quickly. The courses show an old traditional way of doing things, which you're not going to do. But, you should have that information. I'm a full believer in understanding the bigger picture. Volume 2 of that, of course, then goes into each and every formula, and how they're used and what they are and how the herbs are. I mean, this is a great science. When you read these books, this is not some idiot rubbing grass on their naked body in the wilderness like so many people tend to look at witches. This is a high scientific art, how people have combined these, how we use essential oils from many different plants and combine them together to get a particular vibration. What can be more scientific? So if you think this is some sort of goofball nonsense, well, you are uninformed. Or should we say, are you the average boob out there that follows Joe Rogan? So the whole idea is that those are the kind of stooges that, hey, this ain't for you. Move on. I don't even want to give you that information. But if you're an enlightened one, well, support the company that's been doing this for 50 years. I've tracked this. I know this course is kick-ass, and it works for everybody. Again, if you want to win the lotto and others foolish things like that, well, that doesn't happen, even though people have used this course to greatly improve their stock tradings, their luck at gambling, etc. But there is no direct way to make you win at gambling. But you can increase your luck, meaning you win more often, and that adds up into a lot of dough. I mean, anybody who puts this course into practice gets their money back within a couple of months. I mean, you're going to get breaks, better jobs, you're going to attract people you need. It's just the way it is. It's all there. Why are you hesitating to get something like that? This course should be flying off the shelf. We have a complete and total support system for this. It's all in the books, all the things there. Boom, boom, boom. Stock up a little bit, make a minor investment, and then prosper for the rest of your life. And of course, that's how all of our tools are based. But again, this is what people are doing. Now, to think that these people who are rich and famous only use Crowley is a little bit ridiculous. What we're really talking about, these were people who used the occult sciences. And anybody who studied the occult sciences, including myself, have read Crowley. I never followed it, but I did read his books about 25 years ago, and unfortunately my memory isn't what it used to be. But I don't remember what was in those, but I wasn't very impressed personally. And I don't like ritual magic. I like pure in the trench, front line manifestation techniques, which is generally called sorcery, as being unreligious. Because you don't want to be involved in religion or anything else there. It has nothing to do with that. You're using energies. It also has nothing to do with negative or evil energies either. Yet the course does cover retribution and justice, something we just don't have enough of. Evil people should be thumped, and they should be thumped hard. And if this happened every day by all the good people, well, this world would completely change. We would have no corruption. So, I mean, that's a reality there. But if you want to use this or not use it, well, it's up to you. It's a fact of life. I mean, we have to have protection agencies, or we should have uncorrupt police departments and militaries. Why? We need to. People want to thump us. They want to kill us. And if we were an open country where people could invade, we would have been. That's the story of mankind. Well, isn't that the story of your life? Did you go to school and never have a problem? Most people have to deal with 2 or 3 bullies that run that school. But of course, you're being trained by the school to become a victim of the most by the few. That's how the world works. But you can change that. I changed it. I know people. I've known two people in my life, including the famous street wizard and another Hispanic guy from Los Angeles, who were going to be murdered. But they used magic to protect themselves and to take out these people that were chasing them. Yeah, that's how practical it is. So you don't have to become rich and famous. Maybe you just want to survive. And things are getting worse. So it's all there. Don't be fooled by liars and cheats that sell you unresearched, unproven garbage. Go to the source, baby. Go to the expert. Go to the guy who's done it for 50 years, whose life shows it. This is what's there. Apply it. Do it now. You don't like machines. You don't want to invest in that. Fine. You don't have to do that. You can use the first step and move into those laters, which I'll have extra. But the bottom line is this has been kick-ass. The entire radionic science is not as well proven and still being developed into an awesome tool that it will become. But this is not. This has been around for hundreds of years, and I personally researched this system that I put together for over 40 years. And I don't know a single person who hasn't got excellent results with it. So here it is. It's simple. Anybody can do this. It's very easy. I give you all the details on audios, which empower yourself, the whole new system, while the volumes are kind of big and go into a lot of stuff, but that's good. That's fun. Take your time. Go through them. You don't need to do that. Listen to the audios and how to set up everything and how it all works and learn to pick the right formulas, what you need for any situation, and you're all there. You're going to be functioning at a high level very quickly because it's based, it comes down to what is called generally candle magic, which has been very successful for hundreds of years, if not thousands. And of course, there's all sorts of other aspects. How to use a powder, how to use a spray, how to use the bath salts. These are all part of the bigger practice, which you can just make part of your lifestyle. Now, you don't have to believe in anything, or you can believe in anything. This is non-religious and is not hooked up with anything negative. So if you are a Christian, you certainly can practice this. There's nothing bad involved in any of this stuff. If you are a Jewish, if you're a Muslim, it doesn't matter. This is practical science. So it's like saying, I don't want to use a toaster. What do you mean? You want toasted bread? Yeah, I want toasted bread. I'm not going to use it. I don't like the way it looks. Well, it's ridiculous. This is a science, so no matter what you believe in, and you want to add extra energy by putting in your particular God form that you particularly like, well, why not do that? You want to call on Jesus or the saints? Well, of course, that's what all the Latins and, of course, many of the voodoo practitioners had to rename their gods with now that was in popular thought. Well, you can do that. You want to call on a particular Jewish spirit, or you want to call on a spirit or angel from Islam? Add it in there. All the extra help you can get. The more that you believe you can do it. The system is neutral. Understand that. There is absolutely nothing negative or evil put involved. There is no hints or talk about any kind of sacrifice of anybody using demons per se, or of course hurting any living species, which I'm horribly, terribly against any of that. People shouldn't even be eating foods that are non-replaceable, meaning like an apple that keeps giving you the fruit. So there's nothing of that in there, not whatsoever. So all of this is neutral. Add into you want. You want to put a picture of your favorite God form. You want to put a cross next to your candle. You want to put a Jewish star or an Islamic symbol. Go ahead and do it. Bring in all the power you can. Add to the formulas. Why not? You believe in that. It's about time people start taking these philosophical mumbo-jumbo and start putting it into a more practical form where to bring something to you. And after all, if you really believe in your love gods, your gods of manifestation, your gods that want to help you, that are doing all the good stuff for the world, well, why don't you put their feet to the fire and say, hey, I'm one of those good people. Start helping me. So there's nothing wrong with that, and it's very difficult to give up, and I'm not sure I encourage that. I mean, it took me probably 30 years to give up religion of having any seriousness at all whatsoever. But you're brainwashed from a child, so you're always that's always stuck in the back of your mind. If you're from Western society, you are a Christian regardless. Doesn't matter unless you were somehow brought up into another system. Now, if you're coming from a Jewish background, but most Jews are not even practicing Jews. So, they may be Jewish and people never let them forget, like black people. But the point is that they're not practicing. So, and that goes with so many people. But the bottom line is that everybody's a Christian. It doesn't matter. Well, they will never go against Christianity. They may not go to church. They may not give it money. But in the end, it's a nice thought form. Well, if that's your opinion, use that to empower. So it is non-religious. It is awesome empowerment. Check the link below. Grab these now. Life is very tough. And if you don't start arming yourself with practical tools of empowerment, you will fail. Don't think you can get by. Don't think that education and those connections are going to be enough for you to get by. You're going to get stepped on unless you're pushing your energy out there. And it is not scary. It is not dangerous. It is just the way the world is. You empower what you do. You need to have your manifesting machine, your cell phone, your computer, and your manifesting machine. Now, we're working out to have our Scion generator to kind of be the 25th century little tool you use. But this is, of course, a manifesting machine. It's just a little more primitive. It's just as simple as that. So instead of being like the Scion generator, these are more manual. Well, what could we call this? Analog magic instead of digital magic, which is now the Scion generator. So get on the team, get with it. If you're not doing it, well, don't come back later when you're using a bunch of crap technology produced by a bunch of Satanists and your little orgony nonsense, which is going to kill you. All the people that have been brought into that garbage and continue to follow these negative paths, well, they're not doing too well. They're doing well because they're part of gangs and gun reality. Most of these people are also connected with organized crime and criminal acts. But the bottom line is they're not really manifesting all that much. You can manifest with any belief system you have, any positive thought, and that's what life is all about. And you shouldn't, if you're worried about something being negative that you're involved in, well, it means you're negative. You manifesting wealth, taking care of your family, making sure everybody's well. What is evil about that? Everybody. That's the universal constant with anyone. Now, whether you want to slap onto that energetic field a particular God form, well, that's fine with you. Do it. You feel comfortable. You like that. You brought up in that. Use it. Go for it. Plain and simple. But you need practical tools. And I'm afraid that all these churches, regardless of whom they are, none of them are any good. They all come from the crotch of civilization where most of these religions come from, which all are mixed together, and they're so similar that it's laughable when you look at them. So the whole idea is that what they want to do, because they've been corrupted, is the fact they want you to be dependent upon the church. So you pay your money and support them. And you support a hierarchy of basically organized criminals that are called priests and caliphs and everything else. All of these people are part of this control system. You don't need them. So basically, you're going to an in-between to talk to God. Well, I don't want to. When you want to get something done, do you want to talk to them? Do you want to talk to the secretary of somebody? Ideally, everybody would like to talk to the main man himself. Whatever that is, even in business. You would want to go talk to the guy running the place, wouldn't you? Because he's going to give you the better deal. You don't want to talk to his secretary or his manager. So that's what you're doing. Well, screw that, because they're not manifesting for you. They want to keep you hooked to their system, thinking that you'll pay off. Go direct, use it as, use whatever God forms and anything you want to put there. It's neutral. Know your technology. Know how to use it and so forth. And it's all here. But we do know 100% what works for all the rich and famous. It's documented. As I said, this entire book, I originally read it as, a typical Christian ministry book that wants to criticize magical people. Yet he's naming all the very super rich and famous. Now, what he does is try and say how messed up they are and how perverted they are. Like the rest of the Christians are. They're such virtuous people helping the poor all the time, driving around, and they were like Benny Hinn, who uses the voodoo on them. Benny Hinn, who heals people. Well, he never healed them people. There's not even a single case that I know of that has been proven. But he is wearing, $2,000 suits and driving. Last time I saw him in an interview, he was driving around in a, $90,000 Mercedes. Oh yeah, let's take care of them poor. And of course, he's a Palestinian, by the way. But the whole idea is that this is the time. Use it Prosper, you'll find how you change your life. You want something simple and easy to use that's available right now, that isn't kind of new like machines? Here it is, and it is ready to go. And of course, like everything you get from me, it's all done super easy. You have complete support for the rest of your life. You have questions, you have needs, I'm here. Email me and I will personally answer you. You need further help? Well, I'm available in limited availability, but you can talk to me on the phone as well. So I will personally guide you. It's all there. Where do you get that for the measly amount of money that these things cost? I mean, you're able to talk to one of the most advanced gnosis minds on the planet, one of the few people that has reached the level above human, and it doesn't cost you hardly anything. So basically, all of my time is free to you. All you have to do is get the products and fix your life. What more could you ask for? But, follow fools, send money to them, go to these bogus idiots out there. Well, that's the way the world is. And it's fine with me because I don't want to really empower people who are not really with it. So, but remember, we now have an entire book written by a radical born-again Christian who states all these successful people, and they all use magic. Not from me. So do check that book out. As I said, you can get it on Kindle for I think it's $8 or so. It's the best read you'll have. But don't be influenced by they had to put in aberrant cases of freaks and maniacs at the back of the book to make actually magic look bad. Because some Satanists killed people and ate them, we're supposed to think that this is some sort of magical practice. I don't believe he was a Catholic, because you drink the blood and eat the flesh as a Catholic. So he was just kind of a weirdo. So, or the Baptists who drink the blood as well, and they all do this. So they're the vampires, the zombies, the blood-eating, brain-eating zombies. Yes, come to the Catholic Church. So this is all the nonsense. So, Christianity has nothing to be proud of, and neither does any of the other religions that kind of bounce off of it. And of course, traditional Judaism is a very pagan religion that involves all sorts of animal sacrifices. Of course, that's the Orthodox and all the other strange things that the Orthodox do. So, of course, everybody's kind of modified things. But, that's the core of Judaism. We have to be very careful here. So, these are not clean belief systems. None of them are. So, all of this when put together is a bunch of goofy stuff. But if you're into that, hey, it's not a problem. Use the system, prosper, and you be one of those who is successful in life while everybody else, what do I do? Where do I find it? How do I empower myself? As many people that have high degrees and everything else, they can't get a job because you're not empowering those. You send those resumes out. Are you empowering them? Are you energizing them? No, you're not. So you're put in the waste bin with everybody else. That is just another email, another stamp on a letter that goes nowhere. You can change that. Do it now. Until next time.